From the OUTV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics, proudly combating the thought police since 2016. Here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. The Supreme Court on Monday allowed the third version of the Trump administration's travel ban to go into effect. Now, while the legal challenges against it continue, this is still a huge victory for the Trump administration. The court's orders mean that the administration can fully enforce its new restrictions on travel from the 8 nations, 6 of them predominantly Muslim. For now, most citizens of Iran, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, Chad, and North Korea will be barred from entering the United States, along with some groups of people from Venezuela. These people are barred from working, studying, or vacationing here. Over the weekend, Trump tweeted that he knew all along that Michael Flynn lied to the FBI about his contacts with Russia, and that he knew this before he told Comey to back off the investigation of Flynn. Sounds pretty damning evidence. Then on Monday, President Trump's lawyer made the statement that a president cannot be found guilty of obstruction of justice. I can't believe I'm hearing this. This almost sounds exactly, and I'm not a historian, I'm a journalist, a newsman, and a liar, okay? So those 3 things don't make me a historian. But I'm pretty sure that's what Nixon said. When a president does something, it's not illegal. Others have argued, we have a president, not a king. No one is above the law. In 1999, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, then a senator from Alabama, argued that Clinton should be removed from office for obstructing justice in the investigation into his relationships with White House intern Monica Lewinsky. The facts are disturbing and compelling on the president's intent to obstruct justice, Sessions had said at the time. I'm on the edge of my seat to see what Sessions has to say about it now. We knew this was coming, and now we're reporting. On Friday, Michael Flynn pled guilty? I don't know. He's guilty, and he even says so himself. He pled guilty to lying to the FBI about his conversations with then Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. He also confirmed that he will be cooperating with the Mueller investigation. It was a bombshell of news. Comey was tweeting biblical verses, and this revelation, it suggests that prosecutors now have a cooperative source of information from inside the Oval Office during the administration's chaotic first weeks. Oh boy, it was a strange first weeks. One of the most unprecedented, transitions. Mr. Flynn said, "My guilty plea and agreement to cooperate with the special counsel's office reflect a decision I made in the best interests of my family and of our country. I expect full responsibility for my actions." Wow, what a change in tone, Mr. Michael Flynn. President Trump sharply reduced the size of 2 national monuments in Utah on Monday by some 2 million acres. Yes. It's the largest rollback of federal land protection in the nation's history. Bears Ears National Monument and Grand Staircase Escalante are now up for sale to the highest bidder. This could potentially open up millions of preserved public acres to oil and gas extraction, mining, logging, and other commercial activities. Together, Trump said, we will usher in a bright new future of wonder and wealth. Mr. Trump's move is viewed as a victory for Republican lawmakers, fossil fuel companies, and others. Do you feel like a winner? It's beginning to look a lot like a shutdown. The government doesn't care. Talk of a U.S. government shutdown is again in the air. It just seems like this is the season for a shutdown. I don't know if it's just holiday in your heart and you're like, let's shut her down. Funding for the U.S. government, foreign and domestic, it's due to run out after December 8th. That's just days away. Republicans and Democrats in the U.S. Congress are negotiating a spending bill to carry beyond that date. In 2013, there was a shutdown. The number of executive branch employees who were furloughed peaked at 850,000 people, or about 40% of the workforce. There have been 12 government shutdowns since 1981, ranging in duration from a single day to 21 days. Will this one be lucky number 13? I can't wait. I would just warn them. If you're at a job and you constantly threaten to quit, your boss might start looking for another employee. Don't make me look for another government. On Monday, in a moment of unwavering support and unconditional loyalty, President Trump strongly endorsed Roy Moore, the Republican nominee for a United States Senate seat in Alabama. This prompted the Republican National Committee to restore its support for the candidate, which they had to restore it because they had taken away their support of the only Republican candidate in Alabama. Why? Because Roy Moore's been accused of sexual misconduct against teenage girls. We've talked about this. 9 women have come forward in recent weeks to describe their encounters with Mr. Moore, including a woman who said that Mr. Moore molested her when she was 14 years old. So now the Republican National Committee has restored their support of this candidate. And the reason that Trump says that we need this vote, he says those things that he's accused of don't matter as much as this. He says we need his vote to stop crime, illegal immigration, border wall, military, pro-life, veterans, VA judges, Second Amendment rights, and more. Even to some of his allies, Mr. Trump's decision to link the party to someone accused of preying on teenagers marked another example of his talents for creating new controversies when he's under fire. Republicans are well on their way to passing a dramatic overhaul of the tax code late Friday night. So late it was actually the wee hours of the morning of Saturday. The Senate passed the tax bill that will now go into reconciliation. Basically, they're going to try to make a Frankenstein of the House and the Senate, and then they're going to re-vote on it. But it's well on its way to passing. It's almost unavoidable at this point. If you're a regular wage-earning American, this bill is going to make you pay more money in taxes. But the rich, on the other hand, the rich are now prepared to get richer. You had so much money, you didn't know what to do with it. Now you want to know what to do with even more money. Oh, good for you. And the deficit, now that's going to increase by trillions. That's with a T. The cuts, there's lots of cuts for the corporations and the wealthy, and those cuts are permanent. It cuts $6 trillion in some taxes, but it increases it in $4.5 trillion in others, which, if you're doing the math, and I know some of you are, that's a $1.5 trillion not match. A $1.5 trillion not match. I don't know what to call it. Deficit. It's a deficit. It's a massive redistribution of money to the top 1% because they need more money, more money, more money, more money.